And we'll first start off with an update from Thomas Frank about Dejan Kulusevski and his injury news. He says, of course, Kulusevski is a top player. Instead of putting an exact month, I just want him back as soon as possible. It's not tomorrow, but hopefully it's not too far away. There is a good chance to see Kulusevski in action before the end of the year. Obviously, that was the kind of timeline we expected with his long-term knee injury. It was a very nasty one he received back end of last season at home to Crystal Palace. Obviously, he's updated himself a few times on Instagram, pictures of his knee and back in training. He said, I'm hungry, let's eat in the gym. So he's obviously motivated to get back playing for Tottenham. And I think he would be absolutely chomping at the bit looking at the team, how they're playing and how he would fit in. I think he would really fit in like a glove into a Thomas Frank system, whether that be off the right, whether that be in the 10. I think he would absolutely thrive under Thomas Frank, and I think Frank can't wait probably to get him back on the pitch to think about the kind of profile he is, such a strong physical player, but with really good technical ability as well. I think those are the kind of players that Thomas Frank absolutely adores, and I think he'll be desperate to get Kulusevski back involved in the fray, and especially as well when you consider he's preferred Johnson off the left as well so far. So Kudus at the moment is taking a lot of the brunt, a lot of the pressure on the right-hand side, and he's having to play pretty much most games. So I think from that point of view, to get Kulusevski to kind of get those minutes away from Kudus on the right-hand side, rotate, and also playing the number 10 when Xavi is unable to. And we know how good Kulusevski can be. We saw last season when he was playing that number 10 position, for a good 3-4 month period, he was easily our best player and so consistent, especially in our first half of the season. So we know he's a player when 100% fit, he can easily be one of our star players. And to have him missing is a major blow. But it's good to hear Frank kind of put a bit of a timeline on it, saying before the end of the year, there's a good chance we'll see him, which means he must be progressing well. But obviously, it's still going to be a long time until we see him again. But let's hope it's quicker than we think, because he's such a crucial kind of player for us. Next up, this is from Ben Jacobs talking about Joao Palhinha. And he's saying that Joao Palhinha is keen to stay in Tottenham beyond next summer. The original agreement has an option to buy, which is set at 30 million euros. That was something that both Tottenham and the player were very keen on factoring in as part of the deal. Palhinha in particular viewed the loan as being contingent on having that option to buy, because he would like to permanently be back in the Premier League. If Tottenham choose to take up the option, the player will be very happy with that. And I think, obviously, given his start to life at Tottenham, a lot of the talk is starting to surface around activating that option to buy, which we do have, for quite a modest fee in this current market of 30 million euros, which is what, 25 million pounds, to get someone of Joao Palhinha's quality for that amount of money would be an absolute steal. I know he's coming up on 30, or might be 30 years old now, so he is coming into the latter stages of his career, but he's still got many years to give. 30 is not the end of your career by any stretch. I mean, Kane only moved to Bayern at 30 years old, and you can see what he's doing at the moment. Palhinha seems to be taking very good care of himself, and you can see Palhinha, the way he kind of conducts things in midfield, what he's good at, he's elite at, in my opinion, and that is winning duels in the middle of the park. And the amount of duels he wins and just retains possession, recovers, gives you that little bit of steel in the middle, which we've been missing for so long. 30 million euros for me is pretty good. Now, the only question mark for me was last season for Bayern, he had quite poor injury record. So, and obviously he came to Tottenham, wasn't so right at the beginning, wasn't fully fit, and had a few poor performances. But obviously, since he's come 100% fit, he's been absolutely phenomenal most of the time. Yes, there are games where you might not need him and you can take him out, but there are definitely games where he's super, super useful. And I think he's worth having around the squad for me. So I think for 30 million euros, it's a really good deal. Yeah, so the one question mark was his injury record. So I want to see him stay fit for the whole season. And obviously, we're only in September at the moment. So we can't really make that determination until we've had that whole season and see what his injury record is like and how many games he misses. And because for Fulham, he stayed pretty injury-free, I believe. But for Bayern, he was marred in injury problems. And once you get to 30 and you're having injury problems, sometimes it's hard to kind of stay 100% fit, because once you hit 30, sometimes your body can start to decline and things like that, and it's hard. I've seen it with other players, but every player is different. So I want to see Palhinha kind of be 100% fit, or be fairly injury-free or minimal injuries throughout the season, and that will go a long way to convincing me, yeah, we should really be activating, and he can be a player for us in that position with that experience for the next kind of 2-3 years. But yeah, I think for one, most Spurs fans right now are very, very happy with Joao Palhinha. He's playing very well. Brilliant performance against Brighton. One thing I would say is, though, at the moment it's away from home. He's performing a lot better than at home. At home, we haven't seen him put in too many of those top performances. So we're still waiting for that. But I mean, he has unbelievable abilities and values, and I think what he adds to the team is absolutely phenomenal, especially in those real tough away fixtures where we're under the cosh. We need someone who's just going to kind of step up for us in that middle of the park and allow us not to be bullied. I think he does a phenomenal job. Next up, we're going to be talking Harry Kane. This story just isn't going away, is it? And Build are saying Harry Kane can leave Bayern Munich next summer for 56.5 million as long as he states his intention to leave before the end of the January transfer window. This could alert the likes of Man United, Arsenal, I mean, really hope not, and Tottenham in considering a move for the star. And the Telegraph also put an article out saying there is fear in Germany that Harry Kane's third season at Bayern Munich could be his last. And obviously this season is his third season. So there's a lot of stories at the moment surrounding Harry Kane's future. Obviously, he would have been at Bayern by the end of this season 3 years. He would have got broken that trophy drought that he so long wanted to do. Could potentially win the Champions League this season. We'll have to wait and see. From Bayern's point of view, 33 could, and you know, if there is an offer of, you know, the size they're talking about, 55 million, will be probably the last chance they have to kind of cash in on him and get some sort of money back on the 100 million euros they did spend on him. And I think it could work out for everyone if we kind of put in that kind of bid. The new kind of leadership at the club kind of show a statement of intent, bringing someone of Harry Kane's quality back to the club, a club legend, someone who's still showing no signs of slowing down. I think this season he has scored, I think he's got 11 goals already this season for Bayern Munich. He's in unbelievable form. He's been banging them in, got a brace against Chelsea in the Champions League. Harry Kane is showing no signs of slowing down at the moment. He kind of has a chance to break Alan Shearer's record at 33. I think he could be going into his late 30s, a bit like Cristiano Ronaldo. I think he takes such good care of himself. He shows no sign of slowing down. I don't think his game has ever relied on pace. It's always relied on game intelligence, picking up the right positions, and his finishing ability is obviously top-notch. Bayern Munich get a chance to get a bit of a fee for a 33-year-old striker and a chance to reinvest that and look towards the future. Tottenham get a world-class striker through the door, and the leadership show a bit of a statement of intent. I think it could be a win-win all round. I think this still kind of makes sense. He would have broken that trophy drought, so there's no real reason to stay at Bayern Munich beyond the third season as much. I don't think he'll want to finish his career in the Bundesliga. I think he will want to come back to the Premier League at some point, and I think this summer could be the perfect opportunity. Don't think it's going to happen in January, but I think in the summer, definitely there's an opportunity, I would say, for him to come back to the Premier League, and I think it could be perfect for everyone. And I think if he comes back at 33, he is, I think, 41 goals, I think, behind Alan Shearer's record, or 48 goals behind Alan Shearer's record of 260. He will break that, in my opinion, if he comes back at 33 years of age. He'll be, for me, at the top of his game at least till 35, 36. And I think he'll be scoring goals for fun and for anyone he plays for, in my opinion. So, yeah, good point from the guy in the chat roundtable. He did fresh off finishing 13th in the Ballon d'Or rankings after having 60 goals and assists. I think he can feel hard done by with that. it's unfortunate for him. He should be definitely higher up in those Ballon d'Or rankings. Maybe if Bayern Munich win the Champions League with a goal-scoring run, he's on. I wouldn't rule it out. If Bayern Munich can get a Champions League medal and this summer, at the end of the season, I think Kane could win Ballon d'Or. I really do. And I don't think that's a ridiculous shout. But I think after 3 years at Bayern, could be time for Harry Kane to come home. I think that's a story that will keep developing. So watch this space for me about the Harry Kane back to Tottenham story. And lastly, there is a story from Caught Offside that say Tottenham are understood to be preparing a move to sign Al Hilal and Portuguese midfielder Ruben Neves. Neves is keen on a return to Europe with Thomas Frank, and Thomas Frank is looking to bolster his midfield. Now, obviously, we have a plethora of midfield options at the moment. Bentancur, Bergvall, Palhinha, Gray, Simmons, Sarr. So we do have a lot of midfielders, but I have to say the one profile we don't have is a kind of Ruben Neves type of deep-lying playmaker who can kind of set the tone of the game, set the pace of the game with his passing ability. I think it would be a phenomenal signing if we would or serious about going with someone like Ruben Neves. If you were to ask me kind of perfect kind of profile we're missing and someone who we could really use, absolutely it's someone like Ruben Neves. I think he could be perfect missing piece of the puzzle. The problem is, first of all, he's been in the Saudi league for a few years now. How that's affected him, I don't know. He's on nearly 300 grand a week. So he'd have to take a major pay cut to come to Spurs. I mean, our top of earner, I believe, is Romero after signing that new contract, and he's around 200. So he would have to take about £100,000 pay cut probably, unless we're willing to make him our highest earner. So there's a few question marks there. Obviously, Ruben Neves, formerly at Wolves, we've seen him in the Premier League absolutely smash out. He was brilliant when he was at Wolves. I thought he was one of the top midfielders in that position. But he did see the dollar signs of the Saudi league and decided to make that move. One of the first players really who decided to make that move. So obviously you can infer into that what you like about his character and mentality. But if he does want to come back to Europe and he's keen to kind of start playing in one of the top leagues again, I would be delighted to bring someone like Neves. For me, I think he would be brilliant. He's the kind of missing profile we need in the midfield and he's also kind of very strong, he's fairly strong defensively. He's not one of these luxury players. I think he sprays passes unbelievably. We just don't have an elite passer like Ruben Neves in the team, and I think he could be someone we really look at kind of as a profile, which we are missing. So let me know in the comment section below, would you like to see Ruben Neves come to Tottenham Hotspur? That is your Tottenham update. Let me know in the comment section below about any of the stories we discussed today. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below.